Laurie, you've kind of answered the next question of what you just said, but this question is worth asking because I get this from people all the time. It says, what precautions should people be taking in airports and on airplanes right now? Asking for a friend who intends to go on vacation with her extended family next month.
Well, depending on where you live and where you're planning to fly to, a month might buy us a fair amount of additional safety. But that's not necessarily an absolute, and there certainly are parts of the country that are still just getting started in the first wave of this pandemic, and there are certainly locations around the world where the pandemic is just starting to take off. Consider the situation, for example, in Brazil and Russia. But let's assume you're staying inside the United States and you're going from one place to another where the epidemic is at roughly the same stage. Then again, the airlines, just like hotels, are doing everything possible to convince you that they have sanitized, that they've changed the way they're operating. They're not going to jam you in shoulder to shoulder, thigh to thigh with strangers. We'll see. I should caution that Dr. Joseph Fair, a good friend of mine and a friend of MSNBC, acquired infection with COVID, just recently got out of hospital after a long, difficult bout with the disease, and he thinks he acquired it through his eyes on a flight. And of course, the vitreous fluids of your eyes can indeed absorb viruses, and you can be infected through your eyes. So doctors that treat COVID patients wear very tight goggles, so tight they leave indents on their cheeks and so on at the end of a shift. This is tough. I mean, I personally would not at this time get on an airplane.
Let's do one more, I think, before we go to a break here. This is a question says, the social impact I find hard to grasp. Will we ever be able to return to mass shared experiences like sporting events, movies, concerts, etc.? Is this going to be similar to a post 9/11 where the world we knew was dramatically different?
I really appreciate this question because I put 8 years of work into a book called I Heard the Siren Scream that documented how 9/11 changed the way we live in America. And not just 9/11, but also the anthrax mailings that came immediately on the heels of the 9/11 attacks. And I think we are going to go through a far more profound change that will affect much more of our lives than did 9/11. 9/11, let's remember, really two places were hard hit, and then fortunately in Pennsylvania, a relatively unpopulated location. In this case, everywhere in the world is hit at the same time. Every human being on the planet is facing some degree of risk and threat simultaneously. When 9/11 happened, yes, it ushered a tremendous economic catastrophe, but nothing compared to what we're going through now and what we're going to face. And of course, 9/11 and the anthrax attacks constituted basically 3 months of difficulty for direct threat for Americans, particularly in New York and Washington. This is only at its beginning, and we will be experiencing rounds of infection and of threat and concern all over the world for at least another 3 years. So I think that the level of change that we're going to experience in everything, in how we view the arts, what is entertainment, what is going out for a meal, what constitutes necessary travel, essential travel, what constitutes, okay, I can do it at home, or okay, I can go to the office. All of this is going to get completely reconsidered, rethought, and frankly, whatever conclusions we reach by July will change by October, and perhaps again by next April. And so we must all have somehow the wherewithal within us to be resilient, to adapt to constant new information, new changes. Whatever are the absolutes you hear about this virus today and about the risks for today, you must be prepared for new understanding, deeper innovation, deeper science that gives you yet another, permutation of concern, another way of viewing the problem. And just add one other thing. I think that we all have to be careful not to be overly persuaded by what Wall Street wants. The virus is not Wall Street, and Wall Street is not the virus.
All right, we're going to squeeze in a quick break here.